So I am a part-time YouTuber and my goal is to make all my videos as cinematic as possible. And one of the biggest tool in achieving that emotion and cinematic feel in a video is color grading. Color grading is an art of its own and definitely not an easy one. I used to spend hours learning techniques, experimenting and applying them on my footages. While I enjoy the process of learning and I would continue to do so, I still want these looks to be more accessible so that I can play around and learn faster. And that's exactly where this tool comes in handy, Dehancer. So Dehancer is a film emulation software which provides a wide variety of film looks. It's a plugin software offering genuine film looks with offering tools for creative color grading. And the Dehancer team was kind enough to reach out to me and share their product with an exchange of honest video feedback on YouTube. Just to be transparent, this video is not sponsored and they haven't seen it before it goes live on this platform. I had already come across Dehancer tool when I started learning about color grading, and using that tool to color grade my videos is actually very exciting for me. Personally, I use it with DaVinci Resolve, but they also offer the same plugin for Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, and many more. You can check out their full suite on their website. That includes Dehancer Pro package, or if you're just interested in specific tools like halation and bloom, you can buy that separately as well. They even have a mobile app which I generally use it for my on-the-go Instagram stories and videos. You can access the same film looks, grain, film emulation profiles, exactly what they offer in their plugin software for laptop and Macs. So now let's dive in. In one of my clips from my recent YouTube videos that I color graded using this Dehancer tool. So this is the clip that I'll be using to show how I used this plugin to edit my recent YouTube video from Edinburgh. So in this video, I have used Awesome Pocket 3. I sometimes prefer to shoot in log, but generally when I'm on the go, it's mostly normal profile. And this one is a normal profile. So as you can see, it's overcast day with gloomy weather and rain everywhere. First, I'll show you how I have edited this video and how does it look once we have color graded it. And then we will dive into this video in detail, that how and what tools in Dehancer I've used to actually edit it. So yeah. This is how the video looks from before and after. And if I take you to the main tool, as you can see, I've applied Dehancer. I'll just quickly turn few things down and then we'll try. So yeah, if I just quickly undo it, this is how it looks. This is a complete changed version as per me. And if I start from top, so obviously there are these tools that is available in the Dehancer, and it simply comes in as a part of effect. So if you go there, just simply search Dehancer, it will pop up and just you need to pick this up and apply on one node. In this video, we would not cover in detail around how to balance and all those things, but what we will do is we'll just quickly walk through what this tool specifically does. As you can see, there are like multiple items in the tool itself, and you have to scroll down all until the bottom to actually see it. What I do when I start editing these videos, because if you apply this Dehancer plugin on the clip directly, it will have its own certain things selected and it will apply a look of its own. But what you want to do first when you are starting with any clip is go down all the way to the bottom and just click this disable all tools. What it does is like it will untick everything from the presets that is already there. Now come straight to the top. Another good tip which I would want to share here is, so if you click option for Mac and alt for the window PC and then click any on these bottom arrows, it will just collapse all these headings that it has. Otherwise, if you have to do it one by one, which is not helpful. So that's a very useful tip I got to know recently. Now, as you can see, my whole video looks like, if you would have not seen the edited one, this may have looked nice and we would have created a different look out of it. But to me, when I was starting with this video, the only intention I had is some vibes of Harry Potter, other vibes of keeping the tones warm and that magical, because Edinburgh is a city which gives you that magical vibe. So those dreamy bloom effects, so those kind of look I wanted to achieve and just started with that. So if you talk about the first thing, which is input, so this is essentially correcting the start of your clip. So as I mentioned, I shot this clip on Awesome Pocket 3 and I was not using any log profile. So I just selected Rec 709, which generally means your graded basic profile. So I just selected Rec 709. Let's just say if I were using any log profile, I can simply go in and select on choose camera. And then if I go down, I would be able to pick up all things like, for example, DJI, and I would be able to pick up Pocket 3, those kind of D-Log M, that's what their profile is. But since I did not, I just shot this video on X79, so I would just select that. There are other ways of doing that conversion from the log profile to rec 709 as well using CST. So you can try and play with which suits you better. But I think I would just simply prefer, sometimes when I'm in hurry to upload a video, I would simply go with Dehancer. But using CST also doesn't take time. And if you're using the CST input thing, you can go drop down and select this DaVinci wide gamut and intermediate profile. So it's not like that you can't use it by using a CST. So once you have selected your source, now what you can do is obviously adjust. So what I'm showing you here is already the dialed in settings that I had for the graded videos, but I will just walk you through. So this one is adjusting the exposure. If you feel like your videos is a bit dark or you need it with to open up, you can choose to do that. Again, it depends on the vibe that you're going for. For this one, I just kept it at the same temperature. I just wanted to cool down, or maybe this whatever I did, I've kept it at 3.1. It again, then for tint as well, you can just select either you want to go green or you want to go towards magenta. I just kept slightly to magenta, and then I didn't touch these ones. So this is what my base looks like, and obviously it doesn't look that dreamy and doesn't have that effect, but go down and that creates some magic. So this, it's called film. So it's essentially, it is the profile. You think of it like as a camera roll, which is used to shot these clips. So obviously we are using a digital camera. It doesn't have any roll. But what it does is, like what Dehancer has done is, they have done their lab researches to actually create a profile that looks exactly as if you would have shot on a film using these cameras or these film profiles. What I have done is, and obviously there are like loads of options for you to choose. I went with Kodak Potra 800, and obviously it's not like I know about all these profiles, to be honest. What I do is I go in, select each of these and see which one makes more sense to the look that I want, and this one did more sense and I just went with that. So this is how it currently looks, little bit matte, which I wanted, and then I can adjust push and pull, which does looks nice. And obviously you can come back and again change things if you prefer, but let's just go with that. The only suggestion that I had for Dehancer is this point, that like for example, I cannot see how this look if I just take my cursor to that particular profile. I need to click it and then change it every time, which sort of makes the process a little bit slower. But if that would have been incorporated, it just makes it whole thing faster. But nonetheless, they'll offer like roughly 60 plus looks, which is enough to pick. And you can obviously have your own favorites. For example, gold 200 if you're going for that look. They also have these respective profiles based on night light. So if you're shooting in night, you go with this. Then this film developer, what it does basically is add in the details. For example, if you want to add more contrast to your image based on look, and again, this is all depends upon your personal choice. I preferred still the matte look, but a little bit contrasty, so I use that. Then I didn't touch any of the other settings, but what I did is just a little bit of color boost. So it's basically saturation, but in a more toned and fashioned way. So for example, if I show you what I need to do, is I'll have to enable it, and obviously doing anything more is bad. So what I did, I just kept it. So if you look at this it's increasing saturation. Obviously if I go all the way up, it does look bad, but I went with like 12 to keep it subtle. So it does increase a little bit of saturation, but like if you can see on the sides, I'm not sure, YouTube may compress a little bit, but that's what it's doing. Film compression, again same thing. I just selected few things, like example, again color density, changing a little bit of tonal ranges, and it all depends on how you would want your image to look like. I know it doesn't look that great at this point, but wait for me and it will. Expand is essentially if you want to create more blacks around. So that's what I did. I just made the blacks look more richer, and that's what I did in this section. Now print. What is the difference between film and print is? So film is essentially the tool used to record your videos, and print is essentially the, as the name suggests, it's where your picture used to be print in past, and they have like these film prints: linear, Cineon, Filmlog, Fujifilm, Kodak Endura Glossy. My favorite, and I think a lot of YouTubers' favorite, is Kodak 2383, but you can go with your personal choice. And now if I click this is what it does. This gives it slightly the film look which I was hoping for. And obviously you can tweak in your settings, like maybe color boost, or you want bit more contrasty, and if you want to increase the exposure, if you want to decrease it, that also you can play. So it's not like that it has just one LUT and it's just not giving you that freedom. So even you can tweak in the small settings even after applying the look. So that's the only thing. I just tweak it very slightly to see if to the tone that I like. These are the tools which I quite enjoy using. The first one is halation. So if you see, it creates a red glow and red like thing over the image, and I like to keep my videos overall warm because it just creates a cozy feeling for me, and I also want my videos to show that. So I went with this, and they have also different profiles. Changes the density, and you can choose the one that you prefer. For example, this is a little bit strong. The one that I went with is Super 35. I think the reason why I like this is that it's giving me options which generally professionals use, and they are aware of it, in a simple drop down format, and I can go in, use and apply those settings in different clips to see which one I like and which one suits my profile. So this is all, and again you can increase or decrease the impact. You have to, if I just have to show you the impact, I just have to go to the highlights, and then I can probably show you. So for example, if you look at this section, see this red glow coming up here. So this is halation, creates a different old vintage movie like vibe. So this is what it looks. So if I just quickly toggle back just to see where we started and where we are now. So this is where we started and this is where we are. So if you can see, it already looks a lot polished. Color looks decent. Again, I know there are like 100 of flaws in this, but from my learning and my knowledge as of now, it looks great to me at this point. Another thing which I prefer adding is bloom. And if you look closely, what it does is like it creates this misty magical vibe thing, which I quite like for my videos. And like as I mentioned, I want my videos to look magical, so I prefer this. And again, I went little strong on this, so I use 16 mm and then amplify. Obviously you can go all crazy, but which that would not look good, but it also looks great when you have enough lights going on. But still, for this one, it's like for clouds and things like here, smaller lights, details. For example, if I go here and if I just do this, you can see how the cinematic or the bloomy effect it creates. I love that. So this is currently how it looks. Now I close this out. Mostly after this I just add film grain, and film grain I add little bit, not much, and the one that I use is 35 mm ISO 50, but you can go all you want. Like if I click a label, just slightly adds the grains, like if you can see, very slightly. That's what my preference is, at least in clips like this, which is not too sharp for me zone, because I do use a bloom filter on my OP3, so it's not too sharp. But if you prefer, then you can go in and you have like 8 mm, which is sometimes too much for these clips. Like if you can see, this is the grain, but this is which I go with 30 mm. It's still there, but not enough, noticeable. So now if we go again, halation and bloom we are done with. Film damage, it's used to be a characteristic of the film like rolls that we used to have earlier. They used to have a slight different patterns in the way that they were processed, so it's emulating that. It may not be useful for all the clips that you'll be using, but sometimes if you want to create a pure nostalgic feel, then this does come in handy. I've skipped it for this clip because it didn't make sense to me a lot, so I just skipped it. And again, yeah, I skipped everything else after it. One thing which I would want to bring in, so there was a trend going on Instagram for these, cinematic overlays. You also have that in here. So if you go to overscan and click enabled, and these are like original stock overscans, and you have different sorts of ultra, then super 35. And again, you can use this to create the looks that, for example, if I use this one, this looks so good, and this is for widescreen. So generally, if I have to go with, generally go with widescreen 35, but I didn't have this one for this. After that, I would want to add a bit of vignette just to draw attention to the center of the clip, which is my wife here. And yeah, that's it, to be honest. Monitor, again, I know what these things are, but I do not generally use it on a very daily basis, so you can check if there's anything out of scope, out of focus. Again, it's for professional. I do not have that much knowledge yet. I'm still learning, but what I and how I edit at this point is going with the feel. If I like the edited version, that's good enough for me. You could also generate alert for this one and save it for your future use if you want. And then if you're done everything and it does feel that it's coming out a bit strong, you can come to this output and adjust it. Then it will keep everything that you have done, but just reduce it a bit. So I've kept it around 85, which I felt was nice. So this is how it looks after editing. So this is where we started. And again, if I show you how far we have come, so this is where we started and this is what we have achieved. So yeah, so this was my tutorial on how to use the Dehancer plugin. And obviously, as mentioned, I am not a professional. I do not have a lot of understanding on how to do color grading. The only information and knowledge that I have is based on my learning from YouTube videos, and I'm still learning. I have started color grading, to be honest, just this year, and it takes a lot of practice and patience, but it's quite helpful to have these tools that I can still have, those cinematic film looks without too much effort. So who needs the answer? Honestly, both. People like me or even professional colorist, because it makes achieving those timeless film looks so much easier. To be honest, I'm nowhere near being called a colorist, but I actually enjoy the whole process that it allows me with wide range of film looks that I can dive in, explore, and be more creative with my overall YouTube videos. At the end of the day, I just want my videos to look like a movie. I use a word magical a lot in my videos because that's what my intention is when I'm editing any of my videos. I want them to be look magical throughout, so that when I look them few years down the lane, I feel that magic. And trust me, the tools like these helps me create those effects a lot quicker. I am a working professional, and I generally do not have a lot of time to spend on color grading, and I still want to be more frequent on YouTube, aiming to upload at least once a week. And this definitely helps the whole process. The grades looks professional, at least from my perspective, and I know there would be hundred of errors, but for me who is just starting out, it looks amazing to me. It gives me the vibe that I'm aiming for, and it's just a whole process in just single tool. So I definitely recommend, and they do offer multiple packages ranging from a monthly to an annual subscription plan, or if you're interested in buying a lifetime, you just need to pay a one-time fee. And I do have a special bonus from my side. They were kind enough to offer 10% discount to anyone who uses this code BTB when they're doing the purchase. Yeah, so that was my experience of using Dehancer, and I hope if you are interested, you should definitely go and try it out. And if you have any suggestions or any color grading tips, please drop them in the comments so that I can go in and learn myself as well. And see you in the next one. Cheers.